Hi guys, it's Miss Galati. I hope that you're doing really well. Um, I miss all of you. And this week is going to be the second week that you have an assignment with Amplify. I wanted to go through it with you so that you would know exactly what to do when you get it. So this is going to be put up on YouTube, obviously, so you can stop it and start it at your will while you're doing this if you want, or you can watch the whole thing and then do it. It's up to you. So we're going to be in 7B, character and conflict. We're going to go into subunit 2, a reason in the sun, like we did last time, okay? And we are skipping lesson 2 and going to lesson 3. Once we get into lesson 3, we're going to go to introduce, um, want, obstacle, and action. And in this excerpt from the play, we are going to look at the characters, compare them, talk about what they want, what is in conflict with that want, what their obstacle is, and how they dealt with that obstacle to try to get around it to solve the problem. So for this tab, that's what you're doing. So here's scene 1. We're going to come in on Walter mumbling, and he is saying, "We, one group of men tied to a race of women with small minds." And then his sister, Beneatha, enters. She's about 20, as slim and intense as her brother. She's not as pretty as her sister-in-law, but her lean, almost intellectual face has a handsomeness of its own. She wears a bright red flannel nightie, and her thick hair stands widely about her head. Her speech is a mixture of many things. It's different from the rest of the families insofar as education has permeated her sense of English, meaning being educated, she doesn't necessarily have the same dialect or the same sounds when she is speaking. Okay. Um, and perhaps the Midwest rather than the South has finally at last won out in her inflection. Inflection means, sorry, her accent. So her accent isn't the same as the rest of her families, but not altogether, because overall of it, it's a soft slurring and transformed use of vowels, which is decided influence of the South Side, Chicago. She passes through the room without looking at either Ruth or Walter, goes to the outside door, looks a little blindly out to the bathroom. She sees that it has been lost to the Johnsons, which is another family in the building. She closes the door with a sleepy vengeance and crosses to the table and sits down a little defeated. And she says, "I'm going to start timing those people." Walter says, "You should get up earlier." Beneatha, she's still fighting the urge to go back to bed. "Really? Would you suggest dawn?" "Where's the paper?" Walter pushes the paper across the table to her as he studies her almost clinically as though he's never seen her. "You a horrible looking chick at this hour." Beneatha says dryly, "Good morning, everybody." Walter says, "How's school coming?" Beneatha, in the same spirit, "Lovely, lovely. And you know, biology is the greatest." She looks up at him. "I dissected something that looked just like you yesterday." "I just wondered if you've made up your mind and everything," Walter says. Beneatha, gaining in sharpness. "And what did I answer yesterday morning and the day before that?" Ruth says from the ironing board like someone disinterested and old, "Don't be so nasty, Benny." Beneatha says, still to her brother, "And the day before that, and the day before that." Walter defensively says, "I'm interested in you. Something wrong with that? Ain't many girls who decide," Walter and Beneatha in unison, "to be a doctor." There's silence. And then Walter says, "Have we figured out yet just exactly how much medical school is going to cost?" Ruth, "Walter Lee, why don't you leave that girl alone and get out of here to work?" Beneatha exits to the bathroom and bangs on the door. "Come on out of there, please." She comes back into the room. Walter looking at his sister intently. You know the check's coming tomorrow. Beneatha turning on him with a sharpness. That money belongs to Mama, Walter, and it's for her to decide how she wants to use it. And I don't care if she wants to buy a house or a rocket ship or just nail it up somewhere and look at it. It's hers, not ours. Hers. Walter bitterly. Now, ain't that fine? You just got your mother's interest at heart, ain't you, girl? You such a nice girl. But if Mama got that money, she can always take a few thousand and help you through school too, can't she? Beneatha says, I have never asked anyone around here to do anything for me. Walter, no. And the line between asking and just accepting when the time comes is big and wide, ain't it? Beneatha says with fury, what do you want from me, brother? That I quit school or just drop dead? Which? Okay, so this concludes this piece. And now you have the questions. Follow along as the text is read aloud. When Beneatha first enters the scene, what does she want? It's a toggle switch for number 2. You're going to select which things that she wants. Then you're going to explain how she is affected by the setting or by the other characters. In that, if it's that she wanted to go to the bathroom, there are other people in that building, and she's also affected by her brother and the way that he talks to her and the way that he treats her. Which quote from the text best shows the obstacle that prevents Beneatha from getting what she wants? Okay, so you're going to pick A, B, C, or D. Okay, then we're going to go to card 2. This is going to be from the same scene, okay, and you are going, and from the scene before it, you are going to fill in the actions that each of the characters have taken in the play in order to get around the obstacle. For instance, Beneatha passes through the room without looking, looks a little blindly out to the bathroom. She wants the bathroom to be free when she needs it. Her obstacle sees that it's been lost to the Johnsons. One of the Johnsons is in the bathroom when she wants to use it. So what is her action in order to try to get into the bathroom? That's what you need to type into this part right here, where underneath where it says action, okay, you're going to type in whatever your answer is. Travis, watching the bathroom. Travis wants Walter to use the bathroom before Mr. Johnson gets it, okay? One of the Johnsons will probably go to the bathroom as soon as he leaves. So what does Travis do? So you may have to go back to the beginning of this. If you do not remember, Travis sticks his head through and tells his dad to hurry up or somebody's going to get the bathroom right after him, okay? Walter also talks about the bathroom. Too many people from both families need to use the bathroom, okay? So he wants the bathroom to be open the minute he gets up. So what does he do about that obstacle? Ruth wants everybody just to get up. She wants Travis to get up. She wants Walter to get up. Neither Travis nor Walter want to get up so early, so they resist doing so. What does Ruth do in order to get them up? So once you're finished with all of that, and then you're going to click hand in down here. Don't forget to do that. And then the next part that you are going to do, you're going to read the passage about Travis, highlight in yellow the line that shows you what Travis wants, highlight in red one obstacle that gets in the way, highlight in green his action, how he reacts to that obstacle, okay? So here, I am going to start reading to you as to where in scene 1 this takes place. Travis, who is the son of Walter and Ruth, okay, and Mama's grandson says, Mama, this is Friday. Check's coming tomorrow, huh? Ruth says, you get your mind off money and eat your breakfast. Travis eating, this is the morning we supposed to bring the 50 cents to school. Well, I ain't got 50 cents this morning. Teachers say we have to. I don't care what teachers say. I ain't got it. Eat your breakfast, Travis. I am eating. Hush up now and eat. The boy gives her an exasperated look for her lack of understanding and eats grudgingly. Travis says, "You think Grandmama would have it?" Ruth says, "No, and I want you to stop asking for grandmother for money. You hear me?" Travis outraged. "Golly, I don't ask her. She just give me it sometimes." Travis grew it younger. "I got too much on me this morning to be." "Maybe Daddy," Travis said. "Travis?" The boy hushes abruptly. They are both quiet and tense for several seconds. Travis says, sorry, "Could I maybe go carry some groceries in front of the supermarket for a little while after school then?" Bruce says, "Just hush." I said. Travis jabs his spoon into his cereal bowl viciously and rests his head in anger upon his fist. "If you through eating, you can get over there and make up your bed." The boy obeys stiffly and crosses the room almost mechanically to the bed and more or less folds the bedding into a heap, then angrily gets his books and cap. Travis says, sulking and standing apart from her unnaturally, "I'm gone." Ruth, looking up from the stove to inspect him automatically, says, "Come here." He crosses to her, and she studies his head. "If you won't take this comb and fix this here head, you better." Travis puts down his books with a great sigh of repression and crosses to the mirror. His mother mutters under her breath about his stubbornness. "About to march out of here with that head looking just like chicken slept in it. I just don't know where you get your stubborn ways. And get your jacket too. Looks chilly out this morning." Travis, with conspicuously brushed hair and jacket. "I'm gone." Ruth says, "Get car fare and milk money," waving one finger, "and not a single penny for no caps. You hear me?" Travis says with sullen politeness, "Yes, ma'am." He turns in outrage to leave. His mother watches after him as in his frustration he approaches the door almost comically. When she speaks to him, her voice has become a very gentle key. Ruth, mocking as she thinks he would say it. "Oh, Mama makes me so mad sometimes. I don't know what to do." She waits and continues back as he stands stock still in front of the door. "I wouldn't kiss that woman goodbye for nothing in this world this morning." The boy finally turns around and rolls his eyes at her, knowing the mood has changed and he's vindicated. He does not, however, move toward her yet. "Not for nothing in this whole world." She finally laughs aloud at him and holds out her arms to him, and we see that it is a way between them, very old in practice. He crosses to her and allows her to embrace him warmly, but keeps his face fixed with masculine rigidity. She holds him back from her presently and looks at him and runs her fingers over the features of his face with utter gentleness. "Now, whose little old angry man are you?" Travis says, the masculinity and gruffness start to fade at last. "Oh, golly, Mama." Ruth mimicking. "Oh, golly, Mama." She pushes him with rough playfulness and finality toward the door. "Get on out of here. Are you going to be late?" Travis, in the face of love, new aggressiveness. "Mama, could I please go carry groceries? Honey, it's starting to get so cold in the evening." Walter, coming in from the bathroom and drawing a make-believe gun from a make-believe holster and shooting at his son. What is it he wants to do? Go carry groceries after school at the supermarket? Well, let him go. Travis quickly to the ally. "Have to? You won't give me the 50 cents?" To his wife. "Why not?" Ruth simply and with flavor. "'Cause we don't have it." Walter to Ruth. "What do you tell the boy things like that for?" Reaching down into his pants with a rather important gesture. "Here, son." He hands the boy the coin, but his eyes are directed to his wife. Travis takes the money happily. "Thanks, Daddy." He starts out, and Ruth watches both of them with murder in her eyes. Walter stands and stares back at her with defiance and suddenly reaches into his pocket again on an afterthought. Walter says without even looking at his son, still staring hard at his wife, "In fact, here's another 50 cents. Buy yourself some fruit today, or take a taxi cab to school or something." "Whoopee!" Travis says. He leaps up, clasps his father around the middle with his legs, and they face each other in mutual appreciation. Slowly, Walter Lee peeks around the boy to catch the violent rays from his wife's eyes and draws his head back as if shot. You better get down now. Get to school, man. Travis at the door. Okay, goodbye. Okay, so that is card one, and you need to go back through and highlight in yellow the line that shows you what Travis wants, which is the 50 cents. Highlight in red one thing that gets in his way, which is something about mama. Highlight in green his action or how he reacts to that obstacle. Okay, and explain. Then go to card two. This is another piece where we're going to look at Benita and what she wants. This was the same piece that we read originally on tab 2 when Benita comes in. I can reread this for you, and you need to be highlighting in yellow the line that shows what Benita wants, highlight in red what one obstacle that gets in her way, and highlight in green her action or how she reacts to that obstacle. You may also annotate or put in notes to go along with your highlighting. Benita, good morning, everybody. Walter, how's school coming? Benita, lovely, lovely. And you know, biology is the greatest. I dissected something that looked just like you yesterday. Walter says, I just wonder if you've made up your mind and everything. Benita, and what did I answer yesterday morning and the day before that? Ruth says, don't be so nasty, Benny. And the day before that, Benita said, and the day before that, Walter defensively, I'm interested in you. Something wrong with that? Ain't many girls who decide, Walter and Benita say in unison, to become a doctor. There's silence between them, and then Walter says, have we figured out yet just exactly how much medical school is going to cost? Ruth says, Walter Lee, why don't you leave that girl alone and get out of here to work? Benita, come on out of there, please, as she bangs on the bathroom door. She comes back into the room, Walter looking at his sister. You know the check's coming tomorrow. Benita, that money belongs to Mama, Walter, and it's for her to decide how she wants to use it. I don't care if she wants to buy a house or a rocket ship or just nail it up somewhere and look at it. It's hers, not ours, hers. Walter says bitterly, now ain't that fine? You just got, oops, sorry, my fault. You you just got your mother's interest at heart, ain't you, girl? You such a nice girl. But if Mama got that money, she can always take a few thousand and help you get through school too, can't she? Benita says, I've never asked anyone around here to do anything for me. Walter, no? And the line between asking and what accepting when the time comes is big and wide, ain't it? Benita, what do you want from me, brother? That I quit school or just drop dead? Which? I don't want nothing but for you to stop acting holy round here. Me and Ruth done made some sacrifices for you. Why can't you do something for the family? Ruth says, Walter, don't be dragging me into this. Walter says, you are in it. Don't you get up and go work in somebody's kitchen for the last 3 years to help put clothes on her back? Ruth says, oh, Walter, that's not fair. Walter says, it ain't that nobody expects you to get on your knees and say, thank you, brother. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Mama. And thank you, Travis, for wearing the same pair of shoes for 2 semesters. Benita dropping to her knees. Well, I do, all right? Thank everybody and forgive me for ever wanting to be anything at all. Pursuing him on her knees across the floor. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, Ruth says. Please stop it. Your mama will hear you. Walter, who the hell told you you had to be a doctor? If you so crazy about messing around with sick people, then go be a nurse like other women or just get married and be quiet. Well, you finally got it said. It took you 3 years, but you finally got it said. Walter, give up. Leave me alone. It's Mama's money. He was my father, too. So what, Benita says? He was mine, too, and Travis's grandfather. But the insurance money belongs to Mama. Picking on me is not going to make her give it to you to invest in any liquor stores. Underbreath dropping into a chair, and I, for one, say, God bless Mama for that. Walter to Ruth. See? Did you hear? Did you hear? Ruth says, honey, please go to work. Walter says, nobody in this house is ever going to understand me. Benita, because you're a nut. Who's a nut? Walter says. You're a nut. V is mad, boy. Okay, so you're going to go back and you're going to highlight what Beneatha wants, her obstacle, and what she does about that on card 2. Then on card 3, you are going to complete the chart for Travis and Beneatha. Remember, on tab 2, everything was filled in for you for wants and obstacles. But on this one, you're going to choose Travis or Beneatha, okay, in order for you to fill out at least one row. So you are going to put in the want of Travis, the obstacle of Travis, and what he did about that obstacle. And then you may want to also include Beneatha here, the want, the obstacle, the action. And then you're going to figure out which one you really want to talk about in the later portion of this lesson as to whether you want to do Travis or you want to do Beneatha. Make sure you hand that in. Then we're going to go to tab 4. In tab 4, this is going to be where you are going to write at least 100 words. And it's asking you, what is one thing that your character, Travis or Beneatha, that's where you have chosen Travis or Beneatha from the last tab, wants right now. What obstacle is in his or her way, and how does she or he react to it? Okay, so you can refer back to your chart, and that would be what you would use in order to write your 100 words right here. Okay, you're going to obviously skip over class share, and we're going to go to the exit ticket. On the exit ticket, you are going to drag the following statements to indicate whether they show Travis's want, obstacle, or actions in the scene. Okay, and I don't know whether these were right or wrong. Okay, so what his want is that Ruth tells Travis that she doesn't have 50 cents. Travis asks if he can carry groceries, or Travis needs to bring 50 cents to school. So you're going to choose one for each one of these. What's his want? What's the conflict or the obstacle that gets in the way? And what's his action to come around that obstacle and to have resolution or solve it? Then, at the very end, we are going to read scene 1 from beginning to end for your solo. And then you are going to answer some of these questions. Okay, so I am going to start on your reading. I'm going to be on card 2, scene 1, and I'm going to read through this for you again. Okay, so just so that you know. But before we do, we're going to look at some of these questions, because remember I told you that you should look at the questions if you are reading for information. So we're going to ask, we're going to be asked, what does Ruth suggest that Mama use the money for? That is number 1. Number 2, according to Mama, what did Big Walter feel made his dreams worthwhile? Number 3, Mama and her husband, Big Walter, had dreams they couldn't achieve. With the insurance money from his death, what can Mama do now? Part 2. Oops. This question has 2 parts. Select the sentence that does not describe Mama's strength, beauty, or grace on the left-hand side over here. And part 2, based on the sentence, what picture of Mama does this paint for you? Describe her. What is she like? What's her characteristics? How would you describe her to someone else? And finally, this question also has 2 parts. Part 1, why does Ruth bring up Walter's business idea to Mama? And Part 2, which quote from the text supports this reason? Okay, and then once you're finished answering those questions, you're going to hand that in and you're done. We are not doing the challenge writing. We are not doing the challenge writing. So those are the tabs that you need to do. We are going to go back to card 2 now, and I'm almost done. Okay, I am going to read to you the theme that is on each card. We're going to go to card 2. Sorry. Scene 1. The Younger family living room would be a comfortable and well-ordered room if it were not for a number of indestructible contradictions to this state of being. Its furnishings are typical and undistinguished, and their primary feature now is that they have clearly had to accommodate the living of too many people for too many years, and they are tired. Still, we can see that at some time, a time probably no longer remembered by the family, except perhaps for Mama, the furnishings of this room were actually selected with care and love and even hope, and brought to this apartment and arranged with taste and pride. That was a long time ago. Now the once loved pattern of the couch upholstery has to fight to show itself from under the acres of crocheted doilies and couch covers, which have themselves finally come to be more important than the upholstery. And here a table or a chair has been moved to disguise the worn places in the carpet. But the carpet has fought back by showing its weariness with the pressing uniformity elsewhere on its surface. Weariness has in fact won in this room. Everything has been polished, washed, sat on and used, scrubbed too often. All pretenses but living itself have long since vanished from the very atmosphere of this room. Moreover, a section of this room, for it is really not really a room unto itself, though the landlord's lease would make it seem so, slopes backward to provide a small kitchen area where the family prepares the meals that are eaten in the living room proper, which must also serve as a dining room. The single window that has been provided for these two rooms is located in this kitchen area. The sole natural light the family may enjoy in the course of a day is only that which fights its way through that little window. At last, a door leads to a bedroom, which is shared by Mama and her daughter beneath that. At right, opposite is a second room, which in the beginning of the life of this apartment was probably a breakfast room, which serves as a bedroom for Walter and his wife, Ruth. The time, sometime between World War II and the present. The place, Chicago's South Side. So just so you know, from the previous lesson, it asks you about the stage directions. All the things that I read so far are stage directions. It describes what you would see if you were sitting in the audience and watching this play. And what you would need to take in is that it's a very cramped, small space that a lot of people live in, and it is it's time worn because a lot of people have lived there. Okay, so there's some pride in it because it's scrubbed and it's clean, but it's also very warm. At rise, it is morning, dark in the living room. Travis is asleep on the make-down bed in center. An alarm clock sounds from within the bedroom at right, and presently Ruth enters from that room and closes the door behind her. She crosses sleepily toward the window. As she passes her sleeping son, she reaches down and shakes him a little. At the window, she raises the shade, and a dusky southside morning light comes in feebly. She fills out a pot with water and puts it on to boil. She calls to the boy between yawns in a slightly muffled voice. Ruth is about 30. We can see that she was a pretty girl, even exceptionally so, but now it is apparent that life has been a little that she expected, and disappointment has already begun to hang in her face. In a few years, before 35 even, she will be known among her people as a settled woman. She crosses to her son and gives him a good final rousing shake. Ruth says, "Come on now, boy, it's 7:30. Her son sits up at last in a stupor of sleepiness. I say, hurry up, Travis. He ain't the only person in the world that got to use the bathroom. The child, a sturdy, handsome little boy of 10 or 11, drags himself out of the bed and almost blindly takes his towels and today's clothes from drawers and a closet and goes out to the bathroom, which is in an outside hall and which is shared by another family or families on the same floor. Ruth crosses to the bedroom door at right and opens it and calls to her husband, "Walter Lee, it's after 7:30. Let me see you do some waking up in there now. She waits. You better get up from there, man. It's after 7:30, I tell you. She waits again. All right, you just go ahead and lay there, and next thing you know, Travis be finished, and Mr. Johnson will be in there, and you'll be fussing and cussing around like a madman, and be late, too. She waits at the end of patience. Walter Lee, it's time for you to get up. She waits another second, and then starts to go into the bedroom, but is apparently satisfied that her husband has begun to get up. She stops, pulls the door to, and returns to the kitchen area. She wipes her face with a moist cloth and runs her fingers through her sleek, disheveled hair in a vain effort and ties an apron around her housecoat. The bedroom door at right opens, and her husband stands in the doorway in his pajamas, but rumpled and mismatched. He is a lean, intense young man in his middle 30s, inclined to thick, nervous movements and erratic speech habits. And always in his voice there's a quality of indictment. Walter, is he out yet? What you mean out? He ain't hardly got in there good yet. Walter wandering in, still more oriented to sleep than to a new day. Well, what was you doing all that yelling for if I can't even get in there yet? Stopping and thinking. Check coming today? Ruth says. They said Saturday and this is just Friday, and I hopes to God you ain't going to get up here first thing this morning and start talking to me about no money, because I about don't want to hear it. Walter, something the matter with you this morning? No, I'm just sleepy as the devil. What kind of eggs you want? Not scrambled, he says, but Ruth starts to scramble eggs anyway. Paper come? Ruth points impatiently to the rolled up Tribune on the table, and he gets it and spreads it out and vaguely reads the front page. Set off another bomb yesterday. Ruth, did they? Walter looking up. What's the matter with you? Ain't nothing the matter with me, and don't keep asking me that this morning. Ain't nobody bothering you? Reading the news the day absently. The news of the day absently. Say Colonel McCormick's sick. Is he now? Poor thing. Sighing and looking at his watch, Walter says, oh me. He waits. Now what is that boy doing in that bathroom all this time? He's just gonna have to start getting up earlier. I can't be being late to work on account of him fooling around in there. Ruth turning on him. Oh, no, he ain't gonna get up no earlier. No such thing. It ain't this his fault that he can't get to bed no earlier nights because he got a bunch of crazy good-for-nothing clowns sitting up running their mouths in what is supposed to be his bedroom after 10 o'clock at night. That's what you mad about, ain't it? The things I want to talk about with my friends just couldn't be important in your mind, could they? He rises and finds a cigarette and handbag on the table and crosses to the little window and looks out, smoking and deeply enjoying his first one. Ruth, almost matter-of-factly, a complaint too automatic to deserve emphasis. Why you always gotta smoke before you eat in the morning? Walter at the window. Just look at him down there, running and racing to work. He turns and faces his wife and watches her a moment at the stove, and then, suddenly, you look young this morning, baby. Yeah, just for a second. Stirring them eggs, just for a second it was, you looked real young again. He reaches for her. She crosses away and dryly says, it's gone now. You look like yourself again. Man, if you don't shut up and leave me alone, Walter says. First thing a man ought to learn in life is not to make love to no colored woman first thing in the morning. You all some evil people at 8 o'clock in the morning. Travis appears in the hall doorway, almost fully dressed and quite wide awake, his towels and pajamas across his shoulders. He opens the door and signals to his father to make the bathroom in a hurry. Travis watching the bathroom. Abby, come on. Walter gets his bathroom utensils and flies out to the bathroom. Ruth says, sit down and have your breakfast, Travis. Mama, this is Friday. Heck coming tomorrow, huh? You get your mind off money and eat your breakfast. This is the morning we supposed to bring the 50 cents to school, Travis says. Well, I ain't got no 50 cents this morning. Teachers say we have to. I don't care what teachers say. I ain't got it. Eat your breakfast. I am eating. Hush up now and just eat. The boy gives her an exasperated look for her lack of understanding and eats grudgingly. You think Grandmama would have it? No, and I want you to stop asking your grandmother for money. You hear me? Golly, I don't ask her. She just give me it sometimes. Travis roared younger. I got too much on me this morning to be maybe Daddy. Travis. The boy hushed abruptly. They're both quiet and tense for several seconds. Could I maybe go carry some groceries in front of the supermarket for a little while after school then? Just hush, I said. Travis jabs at his spoon into his cereal bowl viciously and rests his head in anger upon his fist. If you through eating, you can get over there and make up your bed. The boy obeys stiffly and crosses the room almost mechanically to the bed and more or less folds the bedding into a heap, then angrily gets his books and cap. Sulking and standing apart from her, he says, I'm gone. Ruth looking up from the stove to inspect him. Come here. He crosses to her and she studies his head. If you don't take this comb and fix this here head, you better. Travis puts down his book and with a great sigh of repression crosses to the mirror. His mother mutters under her breath about his stubbornness. About to march out of here with that head looking just like chicken slept in it. I just don't know where you get your stubborn ways. And get your jacket too. Looks chilly out this morning. Travis, with conspicuously brushed hair, I'm gone. Get car fare and milk money, Ruth says. And not a single penny for no caps, you hear me? Yes, ma'am. He turns outraged to leave. His mother watches after him as his frustration, he approaches the door almost comically. When she speaks to him, her voice has become a very gentle tease, mocking him as she thinks he would say it. Oh, Mama makes me so mad sometimes. I don't know what to do. She waits and continues to his back as he stands stock still in front of the door. I wouldn't kiss that woman goodbye for nothing in this world this morning. The boy finally turns around and rolls his eyes at her, knowing the mood has changed, and he's vindicated. He does not, however, move toward her yet. Not for nothing in this world. She finally laughs aloud at him and holds out her arms to him, and we see that it is a way between them, very old and practiced. He crosses to her and allows her to embrace him warmly, but keeps his face fixed with masculine rigidity. She holds him back from her presently and looks at him and runs her fingers over the features of his face with utter gentleness. Now, whose little old angry man are you? Travis. Oh, golly, Mama. Ruth, mimicking. Oh, golly, Mama. She pushes him with rough playfulness and finality toward the door. Get on out of here, you're going to be late. Travis, in the face of love, new aggressiveness. Mama, could I please go carry groceries? Honey, it's starting to get so cold in the evening. Walter coming in from the bathroom and drawing a make-believe gun from a make-believe holster and shooting at his son. What's he want to do? Go carry groceries after school at the supermarket. Well, let him go. Travis quickly to his ally. I have to. She won't give me the 50 cents. Walter to his wife. Why not? Simply, Ruth says, because we don't have it. Walter to Ruth. What do you tell the boy things like that for? Reaching down into his pants with a rather important gesture. Here, son. He hands the boy the coin, but his eyes are directed to his wife. Travis takes the money happily. Thanks, Daddy. He starts out, and Ruth watches. Sorry. And I just lost my place. He starts out. Ruth watches both of them with murder in her eyes. Walter stands and stares back at her with defiance. Without even looking at his son, still staring hard at his wife. In fact, here's another 50 cents. Buy yourself some fruit today or take a taxi cab to school or something. Whoopee, Travis says. He leaps up and clasps his father around the middle with his legs and they face each other in mutual appreciation. Slowly, Walter Lee peeks around the boy to catch the violent rays from his wife's eyes and draws his head back as if shot. Walter, you better get down now and get to school. Okay, bye. And he exits. Walter, after pointing with pride, that's my boy. She looks at him in disgust and turns back to her work. You know what I was thinking about in the bathroom this morning? No, Ruth says. How come you always try to be so pleasant? What is there to be pleasant about? You want to know what I was thinking about in the bathroom or not? I know what you're thinking about. About what me and Wooly Harris was talking about last night, Walter says. Willie Harris is a good-for-nothing loudmouth. Anybody who talks to me has got to be a good-for-nothing loudmouth, ain't he? And what you know about who is just a good-for-nothing loudmouth? Charlie Atkins was just a good-for-nothing loudmouth too, wasn't he? When he wanted me to go in the dry cleaning business with him, and now he's grossing $100,000 a year. $100,000 $6 a year. You called him a loudmouth. Oh, Walter Lee, you tired, ain't you? Tired of everything. Me, the boy, the way we live, this beat up hole, everything, ain't you? So tired moaning and groaning all the time. But you wouldn't do nothing to help, would you? You couldn't be on my side that long for nothing, could you? Walter, please just leave me alone. A man needs for a woman to back him up. Walter, Mama would listen to you. You know she listened to you more than she'd do me and Benny. She think more of you. All you have to do is just sit down with her when you're drinking your coffee one morning and talking about things like you do, and he sits down beside her and demonstrates graphically what he thinks her methods and tone should be. You just sip your coffee and say easy like, you've been thinking about that deal Walter Lee is so interested in, about the store and all. Sip some more coffee, like what you saying ain't really that important to you. And the next thing you know, she'd be listening good and asking you questions. And when I come home, I can tell her the details. This ain't no fly by night proposition, baby. I mean, we figured it out. Me and Willie and Bobo. Bobo. Yeah, you see, this little liquor store we got in mine cost 75,000, and we figured the initial investment on the place be about 30,000. That'd be 10,000 each. Of course, there's a couple of hundred you gotta pay so as you don't spend your life just waiting for them clowns to let your license get approved. You mean a bribe? Don't call it that. See there? That just goes to show you what women understand about the world. Baby, don't nothing happen for you in this world unless you pay somebody off. Walter, leave me alone. She raises her head, stares at him, then says more quietly, eat your eggs. They're gonna be cold. There you go. Man say to his woman, I got me a dream. His woman says, eat your eggs. Man say, I gotta take hold of this here world, baby. And a woman will say, eat your eggs, go to work. Man say, I gotta change my life. I'm choking to death, baby. And his woman says, your eggs is getting cold. Walter, that ain't none of your money. Walter says, not listening. This morning, I was looking in the mirror and thinking about it. I'm 35 years old. I've been married 11 years and I got a boy who sleeps in the living room. And all I got to give him is stories about how rich white people live. Eat your eggs, Walter. Walter slams the table and jumps up. Damn my eggs. Damn all the eggs that ever was. Then go to work. See, I'm trying to talk to you about myself, and all you can say is eat them eggs and go to work. Honey, you never say nothing new. I listen to you every day, every night, and every morning, and you never say nothing new. So you would rather be Mr. Arnold than be a chauffeur. So I would rather be living in Buckingham Palace. That's just what is wrong with the colored woman in this world. Don't understand about building their men up and making them feel like they're somebody, like they can do something. There are colored men who do things. No thanks to colored women. Well, being a colored woman, I guess I can't help myself none. Ruth rises up, gets the ironing, and sets it up and attacks a huge pile of rough, dry clothes, sprinkling them in preparation for ironing, and then rolling them into tight, fat balls. Walter, we one group of men tied to a race of women with small minds. His sister Benita enters. She's also about 20, as slim and intense as her brother. She's not as pretty as her sister-in-law, but her lean, almost intellectual face has a handsomeness of its own. She wears a bright red flannel nightie, and her thick hair stands wildly about her head. Her speech is a mixture of many things. It's different from the rest of the family insofar as education has permeated her sense of English. And we talked about that one before, where she does not have the same accent as the rest of the family because of her education. Benita says, I'm going to start timing those people. You should get up earlier, Walter says, her face in her hands. Really? Would you suggest dawn? Where's the paper? Walter pushing the paper, looking at her clinically. You a horrible looking chick at this hour. Good morning, everybody. How's school coming? Walter says. Lovely, lovely. And you know, biology is the greatest. I dissected something that looked just like you yesterday. Walter says, I just wondered if you'd made up your mind and everything. Benita. And what did I answer yesterday morning? And the day before that? Don't be so nasty, Benny, Ruth says. I'm interested in you, Walter said. Something wrong with that? Ain't many girls who decide, and both of them at the same time, to be a doctor. Have we figured out yet just exactly how much medical school is going to cost? Walter Lee, why don't you leave that girl alone and get out of here to work, Ruth says. Ruth exits to the bathroom and bangs on the door. Come on out of there, please. She comes back into the room. Walter, looking at his sister. You know the check's coming tomorrow. Benita turns. That money belongs to Mama, Walter, and it's for her to decide how she wants to use it. I don't care if she wants to buy a house or a rocket ship or just nail it up somewhere and look at it. It's hers, not ours. Hers. Now, ain't that fine, Walter says. You just got your mother's interest at heart, ain't you, girl? You're such a nice girl. But if Mama got that money, she can always take a few thousand and help you through a school, too, can't she? Benita says, I've never asked anyone around here to do anything for me. No, Walter says, and the line between asking and just accepting when the time comes is big and wide, ain't it? Benita, what do you want from me, brother? That I quit school or just drop dead? Which? I don't want nothing, but for you to stop acting holy round here. Me and Ruth done made some sacrifices for you. Why can't you do something for the family? Walter, don't be dragging me into it, Ruth says. You are in it. Don't you get up and go to work in somebody's kitchen for the last 3 years to help put clothes on her back? Oh, Walter, that's not fair, Ruth said. It ain't that nobody expects you to get on your knees and say thank you, brother, thank you, Ruth, thank you, Mama, and thank you, Travis, for wearing the same pair of shoes for 2 semesters. Benita drops to her knees. Well, I do, all right? Thank everybody, and forgive me for ever wanting to be anything at all. She pursues him on her knees across the floor. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Please stop it. Your mom will hear you, Ruth says. Who the hell told you you had to be a doctor, Walter says. If you're so crazy about messing around with sick people, then go be a nurse like other women, or just get married and be quiet. Well, Benita said, you finally got it said. It took you 3 years, but you finally got it said. Walter, give up. Leave me alone. It's Mama's money. He was my father too, Walter said. So what? He was mine too, and Travis's grandfather. But the insurance money belongs to Mama. Picking on me's not going to make her give it to you to invest in any liquor stores. Not for once, and God bless Mama for that. Walter says, see, did you hear? Did you hear? Honey, please go to work, Ruth said. Nobody in this house is ever going to understand me, Walter says, because you're a nut. Who's a nut? You're a nut. B is mad, boy, Walter. The world's most backward race of people, and that's a fact. Benita turns slowly, and then there are all those prophets who would lead us out of the wilderness into the swamps. Ruth says, Benny, why you always got to be picking on your brother? Can't you be a little sweeter sometimes? The door opens. Walter walks in. He fumbles with his cap, starts to speak, clears his throat, looks everywhere but at Ruth, and says, I need some money for car fare. Ruth looks at him, and then warns teasingly, 50 cents? She goes to her bag and gets the money. Here, take a taxi. So that would be card 2. And you would be able to probably answer most of the questions. This is going to be card 3, where Mama comes in. Walter exits, Mama enters. She's a woman in her early 60s, full-bodied and strong. She is one of those women of certain grace and beauty who wear it so unobtrusively that it takes a while to notice. Her dark brown face is surrounded by the total whiteness of her hair, and being a woman who has adjusted to many things in life and overcome many more, her face is full of strength. She has, we can see, wit, and faith of a kind that keeps her eyes lit and full of interest and expectancy. She is, in a word, a beautiful woman. Her bearing is perhaps most like the noble bearing of the women of the Hereros of Southwest Africa. Rather as if she imagines that as she walks, she still bears a basket or a vessel upon her head. Her speech, on the other hand, is as careless as her carriage is precise. She's inclined to slur everything, but her voice is perhaps not so much quiet as simply soft. So in stature, she is a beautiful woman because of the way that she carries herself. Okay. And Mama says, "Who that round here slamming doors at this hour?" She crosses through the room, goes to the window, opens it, and brings in a feeble little plant growing doggedly in a small pot on the windowsill. She feels the dirt and puts it back out. That was Walter Lee. He and Betty was at it again. Mama says, "My children and their tempers. Lord, if this little old plant don't get more sun, it's been getting it ain't never going to see spring again." She turns from the window. "What's the matter with you this morning, Ruth? You looks right peaked. You aiming to iron all those things? Leave some for me. I'll get to 'em this afternoon. Betty, honey, it's too drafty for you to be sitting around here half dressed. Where's your robe?" Benita says, "In the cleaners." "We'll go get mine and put it on," Mama says. "I'm not cold, Mama. Honest." "I know, but you so thin," Mama said. "Mama, I'm not cold," Mama says, seeing the make down bed at Travis. "Lord have mercy, look at your poor bed. Bless his heart. He tries, don't he?" She moves to the bed Travis has sloppily made up. Ruth says, "No, he don't have to try at all, 'cause he knows you're going to come along behind him and fix everything. That's just how come he don't know how to do nothing right now. You done spoiled that boy." Mama, folding the bed. "Well, he's a little boy. Ain't supposed to know about housekeeping. My baby, that's what he is. What you fix for his breakfast this morning?" Ruth, "I feed my son, Lena." "I ain't meddling." Underneath, busybodyish. "I just noticed all last week he had cold cereal, and when it starts to get chilly in the fall, a child ought to have some hot grits or something when he goes out in the cold." Ruth, "I gave him hot oats. Is that all right?" "I ain't meddling." "Put a lot of nice butter on it. Did you put a lot of nice butter on it?" she asks. Ruth shoots her an angry look and does not reply. "You like lots of butter." "Lena." Mama, to Benita, "What was you and your brother fussing about this morning?" "It's not important, Mama," Benita says. She gets up, goes to look out at the bathroom, which is apparently free, and she picks up her towels and rushes out. Mama says, "What was they fighting about?" "Now you know as well as I do," Ruth says. Mama shaking her head. "Brother's still worrying himself sick about that money." "You know he is." "You had breakfast?" "Some coffee," Ruth said. "Girl, you better start eating and look after yourself. You're almost as thin as Travis." "Lena." Uh-huh. "What are you going to do with it?" "Now don't start, child. It's too early in the morning to be talking about money. It ain't Christian." Ruth says, "It's just that he got his heart set on that store." "You mean that liquor store that Willie Harris wanted him to invest in?" "Yes." "We ain't no business people, Ruth. We just plain working folk." Ruth says, Ain't nobody business people till they go into business. Walter Lee said colored people ain't never gonna start getting ahead till they start gambling on some different kinds of things in the world, investments and things. What done got into you, Mama says? Walter Lee done finally sold you on investing." "No, Mama. Something is happening between Walter and me. I don't know what it is, but he needs something I can't give him anymore. He needs his chance, Lena." Mama frowning. "But liquor, honey?" Ruth, "Well, like Walter say, I expect people going to always be drinking themselves some liquor." Mama says, "Well, whether they drinks it or not, ain't none of my business. But whether I go into business selling it to them is. And I don't want that on my ledger this late in life." Stopping suddenly, studying her daughter. Ruth Younger, "What's the matter with you today? You look like you all over." "I'm tired," Ruth said. "And you better stay home from work today." "I can't stay home. She'd be calling the agency screaming at them. 'My girl didn't come in today.' And me, somebody, 'My girl didn't come in.' Oh, she just have a fit." "Well, let her have it. I'll just call her up and say you got the flu." "Why the flu?" Ruth says. "'Cause it sounds respectable to me. Something white people get too. They know about the flu. Otherwise, they think you've been cut up or something when you tell them you're sick." "I got to go in," Ruth said. "We need the money." Mama, somebody would have thought my children done all but starved to death the way they talk about money here lately. Child, we got a great big old check coming tomorrow. Now, that's your money, Ruth said. It ain't got nothing to do with me. We all feel like that, Walter and Benny and me, even Travis. Mama says, $10,000. Sure is wonderful, Ruth said. $10,000, Mama said. You know what you should do, Ruth said. You should take yourself a trip somewhere to Europe or South Africa or someplace. Mama throwing up her hands. Oh, child. I'm serious, Ruth said. Just pack up and leave. Go on away and enjoy yourself some. Forget about the family and have yourself a ball for once in your life. Mama, you sound like I'm just about ready to die. Who'll go with me? What I look like wandering around Europe by myself. Ruth says, shoot. These here rich white women do it all the time. They don't think nothing of packing up these suitcases and piling on one of them big steamships and swoosh, they gone, child. Mama says, something always told me I wasn't no rich white woman. Well, what are you going to do with it then, Ruth says. I ain't rightly decided, Mama says. Some of it got to be put away for Benita and her school, and there ain't nothing going to touch that part of it, no. She waits several seconds, trying to make up her mind about something, and looks at Ruth. Been thinking that we maybe could meet the notes on a little old two-story somewhere with a yard where Travis could play in the summertime. If we use part of the insurance for a down payment and everybody kind of pitch in, I could maybe take on a little day work again, a few days a week. Ruth studying her mother, furtively concentrating on her ironing, anxious to encourage without seeming to. Well, Lord knows we put enough rent into this here rat trap to pay for 4 houses by now. Looking up at the words when Ruth says rat trap, and then looking around and leaning back and sighing in suddenly reflective mood. Rat trap. Yeah, that's all it is. I remember just as well the day me and Big Walter moved in here. Hadn't been married but 2 weeks and wasn't planning on living here no more than a year. She shakes her head. We was going to set away little by little, don't you know, and buy a little place in Morgan Park. We'd even picked out the house. Looked right dumpy today, but Lord, child, you should know all the dreams I had about buying that house and fixing it up and making me a little garden in the back. She waits, smiling, and didn't none of it happen. Dropping her hands in a futile gesture, Ruth says, keeping her head down. Yeah, life can be a barrel of disappointment sometimes. Honey, Big Walter would come in here some nights back then and slump down on the couch there and look at the rug, look at me, look at the rug, and then back at me. And I know he was down, then really down. After a second, very long and thoughtful pause, she's seeing back to those times that only she can see. And then, Lord, when I lost that baby, little Claude, I almost thought I was going to lose Big Walter, too. Oh, that man grieved. He was one man to love his children. Ain't nothing can tear at you like losing your baby, said. Mama says, I guess that's how come that man finally worked himself to death like he done, like he was fighting his own war with this here world that took his baby from him. He sure was a fine man, Ruth said. I always liked Mr. Younger. Mama says, crazy about his children. God knows there was plenty wrong with Walter Younger, hard-headed, mean, kind of wild with women. Plenty wrong with him, but he sure loved his children. Always wanted them to have something, be something. That's where brother gets all these notions, I reckon. Big Walter used to say. He'd get right wet in the eyes sometime, lean his head back with the water standing in his eyes and say, seemed like God didn't see fit to give the black man nothing but dreams. But he did give us children to make them dreams seem worthwhile. She smiles. He could talk like that, don't you know? Says, yeah, he sure could. He was a good man. Yes, a fine man, Mama says. Just couldn't never catch up with his dreams, that's all. Benita comes in, brushing her hair and looking to the ceiling, where the sound of a vacuum has started. Benita. What could be so dirty on that woman's rugs that she has to vacuum them every single day? Ruth. I wish certain young women around here who I could name would take inspiration about certain rugs in a certain apartment. I could also mention. Benita shrugs. How much cleaning can a house need, for Christ's sake? Mama, not liking the Lord's name used thus. Benny. Ruth. Just listen to her. Just listen. Benita. Oh, God. Mama. If you use the Lord's name just one more time. Benita. a bit of a whine. Oh, Mama, fresh, just fresh as salt, this girl. Beneatha dryly. Well, the salt loses its savor. Now that will do, Mama said. I just ain't going to have you round here reciting the scriptures in vain. You hear me? Beneatha says, how did I manage to get on everybody's wrong side but just walking into a room? Ruth says, if you weren't so fresh. Ruth, I'm 20 years old. Now that would be on the third card. Okay, and from the rest of that, here is the fourth card. Ruth says, I got to go in. We need the money. Mama, somebody would have thought my children done all but starved. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually the excerpt that I already read halfway through. Okay, so it starts with when Ruth is talking about having to go in, even though she doesn't really feel very well. And they start talking about the money. That would be card 4. On card 5, again, this is the excerpt that I already read, where it starts talking about Mama remembering what the big Walter was like and their dreams, and what their dreams that had never really come true. And then on card 6, they talk about what Mama is planning on doing with the money, and Ruth tries to get her to take a trip somewhere on her own and just, use the money for herself. And then on card 7, that's where you're going to have 2 parts. And on card 8 as well, there are 2 parts to the question. But it entails when Mama comes in, and it includes all the way until Mama is talking to Ruth and Ruth admits that she's tired. So those hopefully will help you. I know that I rattled on a lot. I just hope that you're able to follow along as I was reading to you. I know that this is really long, but you can do this in increments and you can stop it and go back to it as you wish. If you have any questions, again, you can hit me up on my Remind. You can email me. You may get me through Schoology, any of those. Now, when you do this and you hand this in, make sure that you hit the hand in button at all times when you're finished with that little piece. Anytime that there's a hand in button or a move on button, please make sure that you click it. Otherwise, I cannot see what classwork that you did. That's the other thing that I wanted to mention. All right, so I'm going to stop, and I hope that you guys are doing well, and I definitely want you to know that I really miss you. And yeah, so thank you so much for paying attention, and I'm going to